So the Wienergate is growing, so says Star Magazine. Another woman has come forward and provided a sexting exchange with the embattled New York Representative Anthony Weiner. She says she has 200 sexually explicit messages from Weiner, who is married, from a Facebook account that he no longer uses. He said something to the effect of he had a ridiculous bulge in his shorts and asked her if she wanted to see it. And that's how the picture thing all got started. Congressman Weiner, who initially denied all of this last week and at very best was dodgy about it, is now apologizing for terrible mistakes. Here's what he said yesterday to the media.
I have not been honest with myself, my family, my constituents, my friends, and supporters, and the media.
It was a tearful press conference indeed. He admitted to sending or exchanging explicit photos with several women over the past 3 years. He said the encounters were consensual. He said his actions were dumb, destructive, and shameful. He regrets hurting his wife, who was a Hillary Clinton aide, and he isn't even thinking about re-election at the moment. Those are the last things on his mind. Some people said he would have been mayor of New York. But here he is yesterday, Anthony Weiner, admitting to what he'd done.
Last Friday night, I tweeted a photograph of myself that I intended to send as a direct message as part of a joke to a woman in Seattle. Once I realized I had posted it to Twitter, I panicked. I took it down and said that I had been hacked.
Yeah, and there is the cover-up was worse than the truth, it would seem. Once again, that's an age-old adage. Barry Shade is with us, master trainer at Fowler Wainwright International Institute of Professional Coaching, and we're not talking about football coaching or golf coaching. We're talking about life coaching, aren't we, Harry Shade?
That's what we're talking about, absolutely. How you doing this morning?
Not bad. Thanks for being available. So had Anthony Weiner come to you and said, I need a little coaching at the moment here, I sent this picture on Twitter, and I think it might come back to haunt me. People are asking about it. What would you have advised?
Well, you know, the interesting thing about coaching is we really don't advise, but we help people find out what it is that they want to do, what are their goals in life. And in this particular instance, I'd be checking with him to see, okay, what's next for you?
So he could have said to you, I want to cover it up. What would you say then?
Well, I'm an ethical coach, so if he came to me and said, you want to cover it up, I'd probably be telling him to find another coach, quite frankly. But, you know, to play along here, if he wanted to cover it up, we'd be talking about, you know, what's your goals? What do you plan on doing this? Why is it you want to cover it up? You know, what is this going to do for you? What benefits will you gain?
Well, he was very embarrassed, obviously, right? He's a member of the United States Congress and behaving in this fashion. We do expect a little bit more of those we elect, don't we?
Yeah, I would say we would. That's why I would actually even question the fact of covering it up. You know, we would go into that as well and say, listen, you know, how do you think this is going to work for you if you cover it up? Because most people, when they try to cover these things up, it comes back and bites them in the rear end later on anyway.
Do you think he could have said when this first started out, yeah, I mess around online a little bit. You know, it's really nobody's business but my own anyway?
Could he have said that? He could have.
And do you think
would it have helped him? You know, image-wise, probably not. But again, you see what's happening here. He started off trying to cover it up, and it turn around and, like I said, bit him in the butt.
Now, I happened to be watching yesterday ESPN or whatever during the day, and here comes Plaxico Burress, guy who caught the go-ahead touchdown for the New York Giants in the Super Bowl, and about a year later had a gun go off in his pants in a nightclub in New York and was sentenced to 20 months in prison for it. Okay? So here he comes out of prison, and it was his agent or somebody, lawyer, next to him in a jacket and tie, and Plaxico Burress walks out in what looks like a Unabomber costume. He's got like a sweatshirt with a hood on it and sunglasses, and couldn't somebody have thought about the fact that there was going to be media there to watch him emerge from the prison and maybe in an effort to help clean up his image? I mean, he does want to play in the NFL again, and he's going to be looking for work if the NFL starts up. Couldn't he have worn something a little different?
Yeah, I'm quite sure he could have. And, you know, there's all kinds of different coaches out there. I'm a life coach, but we also have, you know, people that specialize. And in that case, I think he would have really benefited from an image coach.
Yeah.
Somebody could have said, listen, let's come out here, let's look the best we possibly can, and, you know, give him, you know, ask him, what is it again? What is your goal? What do you want to do? And if your goal is to look like the Unabomber, well, you did it. But if it's to really go out and look like somebody who is, ready to come back into society and put on the best image, then there would have been probably a lot better things he could have worn for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think somebody would have told him that. Maybe you can't tell him anything. You never know with these athletes, but you would think common sense would have entered in, but it didn't yesterday. But I guess when you talk about life coaching, you must be very specific in what you do. So if it isn't fashion and it isn't how to get away with sexting, what is your focus of life coaching?
Well, basically with life coaching, we cover 6 areas of life, and it's professional, financial, health and wellness, spiritual, relationships, and the emotional side of life. All those impact one another, and we sit down with people and we find out what are their goals in those 6 areas, and then we help them get there. And one of the misnomers about coaching is the fact that we're like consultants or advisors. We come in and we tell people what to do. Well, it's the exact opposite. We come in and we ask a lot of questions because we know that the answers are within these people. So we help them find those answers. And really a session with a coach like myself is a lot of questions, asking these people. Now, one of my favorite questions is, though, how's that working out for you?
Mm-hmm. And that forces, a little retrospect.
Absolutely.
Thank you. How do we reach you for coaching or advice?
Well, basically, if you want to be a coach, if somebody's interested in that, CoachTrainingOnline.com is where you want to go for that.
Huh.
You can go in and check it out. We have weekly live online classes begin each week. It's a 16-hour course. There's a live training in Chicago next weekend, June 13th and 14th.
CoachTrainingOnline.com. You know who was going to log on today? Probably Jim Tressel from Ohio State. CoachTrainingOnline.com. Harry Shade, thank you very much. Ann Doyle joins us next with the woman's perspective. It's Michael Patrick Shields.